Okay, so what we want to do now is, based on the score that the student receives, we want to return a grade. So we know what each student has achieved as a grade based on the score that they've earned in a test. Now, to do that, usually what I do is I keep the data of score values and grades, corresponding grades, in another tab. So I usually keep that somewhere else so that it's out of the way. But so that you can see exactly what I'm referencing, I'm going to keep it on the same worksheet. Okay, so to do that, we start off using something called VLOOKUP, a function called VLOOKUP. So I'm going to again start with equals. I'm going to type in VLOOKUP, open a bracket, and the way this works is we're going to tell Excel that we want it to look in the cell to the left. So in this case, it's saying look in cell B2. Hit the comma button. Now we've told it what cell to look in. We want to tell it what cell to find that value. So I want it to find that value or up to the next value in this array here, in this table of values. And then I want it to say return the value once you find it. Return the value from column 2. So I'm going to type in 2, and then I'm going to close the bracket, hit enter. Okay, so what that's done is it quite smartly works out that this person, the number we looked at is 60. That's the value achieved there. But the next highest grade would be 65. So that boundary being 65, it understands that the next boundary was 58. So at 60, it's in between. So it picks up the fact that it wasn't 60, and it wasn't as high as 65. So it picks up from this row here, and it returns the value next to 58. So now that's all well and good. The next thing is we want to use something called autofill so that we can work out everyone's score all the way down the table, so we don't have to type that formula out one by one, which would be quite time consuming. So what we want to do is we want to highlight the array here. As you can see, I've highlighted I2 to J9, so that's the array here. And on my keyboard, I'm just going to click on the F4 key. What that's done is that's made this array absolute, and I'll explain that in a second. So let me hit enter there. So you can see that it's put some dollar symbols in front of the column letters, so I and J, and it's done it in front of the row headings as well. So the number 2 to number 9, it's put the dollar symbol in front of both. I'll hit enter, and it's made no difference to this. But now when I'll do an autofill, so in the bottom right hand corner of a cell, you can see there's a dot. If I put my mouse over it, click on that, hold, and drag down, what it's done is it's copied that formula down to each row, all the way down. But like I said, it's kept this table here with the score and the grades absolute. So I'll show you from the top here. So when I click on this first row, you can see that it looks in cell B2, but it tries to find that in the column J, so column I, and returns the value that's in column J. So if we look at the next one, you can see the next one's moved to B3, but it's carried on looking at the same row. It hasn't shifted down, so that because that's B3, naturally if I didn't do this, it would have tried to find the information there. So it would have locked off that, and it would have looked in there, and here now we have an empty cell, and we would have missed that value there. The third one down, again you'll see that the lookup is turned to B4, but again the array where it finds the score and the value and the grade is absolute, so it stayed the same. In this case, it's if it had moved down, it would have looked like that. Again, there's nothing in these 4 cells here, and we would have missed these 4 cells here. So that's why we do absolute cell referencing.